Let's be real here. If you clicked on this video, you have an SAT coming up.
Running out of time, running out of time.
I'm going to go through some of my advice for each section that I would give to someone if I knew that they were going to take an SAT soon. For a quick look at my credibility, I've had no tutor for the SAT, so I've taken the test 4 times. My super score is a 1540 and I have a 770 on English and math. The tips that I'm going to share are things that I've learned from research and from taking the test myself. Hope it helps! For the reading section, unlike the ACT, because there is more time, you actually have time to read through the entire passage. However, don't read too slowly because you might run out of time in the end. Make sure that you balance your time well between the passages so you have time to answer all the questions at the end. My tip would be, before you read the passage, to read the questions, that way you know what you're going to be looking for as you're reading. My quick tip for answering the questions that require context to find the definition is to circle those words in the passage so when you're reading, you pay extra attention to the context around the word. Make sure that you read the introductions before each passage because oftentimes these intros have helpful information that can help you answer the question and get the main idea of the passage. For the grammar section, my number 1 tip is about redundancy, and the strategy is less is more. If you see any of the answers that have multiple of the same definition written twice, you know to pick the shortest answer. Another important thing that I think you guys should know about is how to use semicolons and commas. I'll leave a picture up next with some of my notes that I've gathered from studying for the SAT. For the math section, if you're allowed to use your calculator, use it to your advantage. I would suggest plugging in numbers for questions that have variables to help you check your answer. Make sure that you don't plug in 0 or 1 for any of the variables, and if there's 2 separate variables, you have to use 2 separate constant numbers. My strategy for the math section is to always do the first few free response questions first. This is because towards the end, if you're running out of time, you can easily guess on a multiple choice question, but it's much harder to guess and write a random answer in the free response. In the free response section, you'll notice that the first few questions are significantly easier than the last few. Just do the first few first and then go and start the multiple choice. Definitely have the quadratic formula memorized. If you guys don't know the song, it's x equals negative b plus or minus radical b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Oh my god, how did I forget that? It's been so long. If you can commit that little jingle to memory, it'll help you a lot on the SAT. Lastly, if 2 lines have no solutions, it means that they're parallel. A solution is a point where 2 lines cross. And if 2 lines have an infinite number of solutions, it means that they are the same line. Alright, finally, we're just going to finish off with some general tips for the SAT. This will apply to any time you take the SAT. I definitely recommend these tips. They're things that I've used and that I always recommend to other people as well. Definitely make sure that you get a good night's sleep before your test because you want to make sure that your brain is nice and alert and that you're ready to handle all the problems. On the morning of, eat a nice big breakfast and watch a few videos with last-minute tips for the SAT. That's definitely what I used to do every time, so I'll leave my favorite videos linked in the description box down below. You can choose if you want to do this or not, but it's definitely something that I did, and it was bringing my study guides to the actual test itself and studying until the very last minute. Oftentimes, as the kids are entering the room, there's a lot of waiting time, so I would use this time to look over my notes and finalize all the ideas in my head. Of course, make sure that you properly stow the notes away during the test because you definitely do not want to get accused of cheating. As the test is really long, I suggest that you bring snacks, that way if you ever get hungry, you can start to eat them. I hate taking tests when I'm hungry, so make sure that you go loaded with some snacks. This tip definitely got me a lot of weird looks in the bathrooms, but it's what works for me, and it's exercising during the breaks. So I'm kind of crazy, so I would go and do jumping jacks and squats in the bathroom, but this is all to help get the blood flowing in my body because personally, my brain works better when the blood is flowing. So if it's something that you want to try out, I would recommend it and give it a go because I feel that the better your body is moving and the more alert you are, the better able you are to take a super long test. Lastly, although the SAT does provide you with more time to answer each question than the ACT, it's still important to be mindful of the time. If your room has a stopwatch clock on the board or the start and end times, make sure that you're referencing it occasionally to make sure that you're on track. The last thing you want to do is leave all of your knowledge behind and not get the chance to answer all the questions. Alright, and that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you like and subscribe to this channel because I do plan on producing more content about how to study for the SAT, and maybe some videos about the ACT as well. Good luck on your SAT test, breathe deeply, and know that you got this. As usual, make sure that you're following me on all my social media accounts. I'll leave them up here, and have a great day!